didn't get back for those who are fans. She gave me one of those. So, but that Shazam shit is priceless. When I seen that, I said, oh, she's a fool for this. But that was a very thoughtful fucking gift. Courtney gave me some shit that these motherfuckers' gifts are getting so much more fucking sophisticated. I gotta come up with some shit. I got some shit for a drunk sister the next time she came though. She probably ain't gonna see this first. I got her some fucking gummy bacon, some candy bacon. You know, she's not really vegan, but she ain't eating that shit. I think it's just not real bacon, but it's like, it comes in an Oscar Mayer pack. This shit is funny. So she'll get a kick out of that. But yeah, that was fake. Got you niggas. Yeah, of course, Sinbad never said it, but see, you got to understand what the concept is, that in this reality, that's the concept. Sinbad never did that movie. But they're saying, see, you remember we went into a golden, y'all niggas ain't listening to me. We went into a golden age, reality shift. That's why they doing all this multiverse shit, because we actually shifted into another reality. They said there was a battle in New York near the goddamn Statue of Liberty. These Germans invasions, Russians in whatever it was, whatever year, never lived in New York, never came up. They tell you every historical thing about every history, never came up. We know, I always seen Kennedy's car. It was always a 4-seater. Now it's a 6-seater. And the people in the middle seat are giving interviews. He was a governor or some shit. They said in the museum of Kennedy, it's a 4-seater car there. But I went back to all the movies, JFK, you see 6-seaters. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Who the fuck will deny that? Now it says, and you go back, magic mirror on the wall, the Forrest Gump thing. So some of that shit was real, but then what they do is inundate you with a whole bunch of bullshit. You don't know what's real. So there was a shift, and it lines up with Beetlejuice. It lines up with all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Some people, how it came about, some people, before anybody said the word, they said such and such, and this lady said, no, Mandela died in the 80s in jail. She said, no, he didn't. He became the president. I remember him being a president. And she just went online and did a survey, and she found across the world, just a random survey, half the people in the world remember this, without saying the Mandela effect or putting anything in people's head. See, all that shit was Captain Crunch spelled with a C or a K. You don't think of the shit like that. It's so buried deep in the images in your subconscious. You don't see. I can hold up a bowl of Captain Crunch, or I can hold this. I can do just like this. You're not even reading that as a Pepsi. You identify it already. So for years of seeing Captain Crunch or Pepsi, you don't have to. I don't have to pick this can up and you go P-E-P-S-I, Pepsi. In fact, even if you had to read this, you don't go Pepsi. You just know what you seen P-E-P-S-I so much, you go, oh, Pepsi. It's Coca-Cola. But I can hold a Coke can and a Pepsi up backwards, and you would know what it is. I can hold the words and go like this, and you know this is a Pepsi. Why? Because at a certain point, like I said, this right here, you know what it is already. You didn't have, and I moved it fast so you can't read it, but you know it's a Minute Maid. You understand what I'm saying? You've seen it so much, and Captain Crunch is the same. So when they show you Captain Crunch, you've seen it so much, you don't know if it's a K. You don't know if A is for Apple or J is for Jax. So that's where they was confusing you. But certain shit, Bernstein and Bernstein Bears, was like, wow. So why certain people remember it certain way and certain people remember it other ways. The Curious George have a tail. I remember the story. He had a tail. He used to be on his tail upside down talking shit to that white man. So there was a real effect. It happened already because I don't really see any more of that happening. But it did happen. Luke, I am your father. So there was a shift. And then they did all this multiverse talk. Now they're talking about the multiverse. That's when Neil deGrasse Tyson had to start to assimilation, because they knew there was things they could not explain. So even though they was inundating us with all of this, a girl was like, I'm looking for more of this shit. You be watching this YouTube video about 7 minutes in trying to research, and the chick goes, well, I know I made a turkey sandwich. And then when I looked up, it was a bologna sandwich. Man, and I'm sitting there like, I can see if you didn't know anything about it and it caught your attention, you watch all that shit and just turn it off. I said, oh, that's what they do. They just put all of this misinformation where the real information has a less of an impact. But that's also Neil deGrasse Tyson. They went from evolution to assimilation. Then it makes sense. And at the same time, people were saying the earth was flat. They was questioning the reality and questioning the validity of anything and NASA ever sold you, and really saying all our information about around Earth. I mean, think about this logically. If NASA's saying, you goddamn right, we showed you pictures from space and this and that and this and that and the other. So when humans back in the days were saying the earth was flat, how did they figure out it was round back then? They had no spaceships. How did they figure out the earth was round back then? Because NASA's saying, we took pictures from space, this from space, look at the picture of Earth. They already proved that it's Photoshop. That's clear. They take them same NASA pictures and they do what they do, and they can show you where it was a square pixel laid on something. That's just a fact. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? You can say shit, because they ain't never been to space and none of that shit. That's true. But they was talking evolution. They had to talk simulation. NASA is religion for the logical mind. Christianity or religion is for the believer, the feeler. And if you can't feel religion, I just believe. I need to know. Well, evolution, I'm satisfied with that. One day we'll go out to space and we'll be better. I'm satisfied with that. And then when why he can say simulation, because evolution says that we were random, we have no purpose. And you say you're random and have no purpose, the only purpose is to be a good human. And then, so that works. But why such a change or assimilation? Because that also says you're worthless and have no purpose. You may do all of this work. There's a movie called The 13th Floor where they go in computer simulations and fuck with them, fuck and live out their fantasy. Just like in Star Trek, they have Star Trek, the second one, New Generation, they have what they call the holodecks. They go into a room and then they make whatever reality. Boom. The holodecks are just like what you've seen in the cosmic aspect of Lovecraft. When they said you could be anything, do anything, that's the holodecks, and that's mimicking the quantum world. That's what your heaven is. That's what heaven is. Detail. A room or space of graph that you control. Watch the movie What Dreams May Come. It said when we're kind of here, that's the astral world. You actually go beyond that. Because they was in the astral world. The astral world is a mini version of this world and that world. It's the bridge world. So that's where you get to either move on or you come home. And in the astral world, if you had it too hard here and you can't get out of that trauma, or ignorance, you may go live in that world not knowing that it's you who's creating it. We are in the death phase. We are in transformation phase. We are dying. Earth is being stuck between Akar. And until you know the divine feminine are set to get that nourishment from the goddess understanding which exists within you, you won't move out of here. You're not going to get out of here being a nigga. You're going to have to interface with the divine aspect of yourself. And if you're smart enough and crafty enough to find a female who can do that as a male for you, excellent. And for a male, you're supposed to totally submit to the female because once I did that for Khadijah, she became more of a monster. So it works for the feminine too, representation, when you don't make them have to be the man. See, most women saying dumb shit like, you should give me a gift on Father's Day. You failed. You understand what I'm saying? You're a fucking failure. The father didn't just fail you. You failed for believing that stupid shit, because you are an absolute woman, and you may have made it, and your son or daughter may have made it in spite of their circumstances. But no, it's not because you became the fucking father. It just so happens, because most women are terrible fathers. That's why niggas are fucked up. And fathers are terrible fathers. That doesn't let niggas off the hook in the least. But in the best case scenario, what I did was, through a process, and it took time to submit things like the choice that I told you for Khadijah, for Khadijah to feel free. I was feeling free. When you go out, where you at now? What time you coming home? She could do whatever the fuck she wanted to do. I don't question her. Know that where you been at, what you doing, looking behind shit. I never looked in her phone. Never. And she's never looked in mine, as far as I know. She never experienced that with guys, because most guys aren't that free to let their woman roam. It's about trust. And doing that, in that freedom, I see more of her divine power unleash. You understand? So a union of man and woman does unleash it in her, and you get the benefit of understanding, because you chose to have the male path this lifetime, of understanding that divine feminine. That's what it's about here. And that's how you get past it. You're in a game, nigga. Just like that, just like Grand Theft Auto. And how do you get to the next level? It's through the woman. It's through the divinity, the divine feminine. Let me be clear, because it ain't that bitch on Loving Hip Hop Prissy. You understand what I'm saying? Her and Jim Jones, they are that union that found each other, and that soulmate that found each other. But the human ignorance all around it says, see you next lifetime, we'll be butterflies. All right, I'm about to get the fuck up out here, man. What we talking about here, man? All right, so listen. Muhammad Ali. What's my name, motherfucker? Know what I'm saying? Watch everything you can. His energy as a protector, as a fighter. Whatever odds you are going to get, and even in your study, whatever odds, you use his colors, white and black, them Everlast shorts. He wore that shit like a uniform. You use, I'm not giving, you're gonna have to come to the lecture. Louisville, that's the only other thing. Maybe somebody will give me a cut, because I made niggas' books come back in print by talking about it, and you black folks supporting that study. So I know y'all niggas really study too and get these books, because I've seen authors. There was somebody who interviewed an author. Whoever wrote, I can't remember this nigga's name. He really thought he was that serious with me. Like he's what I use as a reference to a bigger study. But he wrote about the subconscious mind. It's just like a ABC to read his shit to get to my shit. But in his mind, I believe he thought, I can't remember this white guy's name even. And I promoted his book, what was it? The Magician. The Magician. And it's about this, it was out of print. And I think it's back in print, but somebody interviewed his ass and asked him, do you know Brother Panic? And to my surprise, that nigga was on it. But here's where I know he was fucking with me. Because he tried to do it like it was belittled. First he was like, anybody saying name, he says my books, I sold a lot of books. So he said that. That interview's got to be somewhere. If you find his name, just look for his interview. I can't remember who interviewed him showed it to me either. But then he goes, you know, because we need humor in the occult, because, you know, it's a good way of teaching it. Oh, so you don't just know from aesthetic. You had to be listening if you know I joke. Or even Bobby, if he's talking about that thing, because it's the same thing. These motherfuckers listen. Because if they're occultists, ain't no way after 20 years and about 2010 on YouTube, there's no fucking way you're not searching. My site is called Occult Lectures, not Brother Panic. So whenever you search for occult, dun, 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 whether you're looking for white or anybody, my face is always on that list. Ain't no way you're gonna click on some shit. You're not gonna click on system with some nigga sitting there like this, talking about occult, mathematics, scientific, waka thing. You're gonna check it out. I would, you know what I'm saying? I would, if I seen a white person in our shit, what the fuck is he doing? Turns out he has a following, has done what? Now there's motherfuckers who lighten up and be having a million hits on the same kind of subjects I do. But see, they ain't talking from the nigga, you're just a jigaboo aspect. Know what they're talking from? I'm just a wannabe aspect. This is why the sun, you know, they say it and present it in a way where they're trying to get hits. I'm not trying to get hits. I'm putting out a calling to the next motherfuckers off of this rock. You understand what I'm saying? And there's motherfuckers dedicated to that. Clear Ali was, but now he's here coming hard, telling me to tell y'all this. And telling me and dragging me to Louisville to fuck this lecture up. I'm going to do a big honorarium to him, a big libation to him. He already told me how to bring him. It's easy. It's so easy. It's like this nigga left all his mantras here. So I'm a collective file on them shits. Don't forget Bundini. His boy Bundini. Look up who Bundini was. May float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Oh, I'm going to break that shit. Oh, down. Let me tell you, they said at his museum in the back garden, beehives started forming. One of the keepers said they got fucking chills. All they see is butterflies and beehives. Bees, there's a book called The Shamanistic Way of the Bee by Simon Buxton. And get Simon Buxton's other book about darkness. What was it? Simon Buxton's book, Darkness Visible. Must have. Darkness Visible and The Shamanistic Way of the Bees. And they show you how Egyptians use bees to put the sting at an acupuncture point. Even in the Bible, let there be light was one of the first things, because they said bees need to pollinate the place. Otherwise, there's no other entity that can pollinate. They're trying to make machines now because they had bee collapse. When bee collapse started, that's because the bees represents the soul. Read the Simon Buxton book, and we were actually leaving. That was saying that niggas were actually making it out when the bees were leaving. You gotta watch, you gotta get on this shit, you know what I'm saying? And so let there be light, let it be. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The floating was the feet and then the jab. That was his whole shit. He was shuffled and then lunged forth with the jab, or moved the feet and caused distraction and created the shadow punch. Bruce Lee did nothing but study Muhammad Ali's footwork. Let's get real. Bruce Lee said that. I studied nothing but Muhammad. He was doing it. Bruce Lee was teaching, doing the Ali shuffle. He was like, it's the absolute form of distraction. And that was the floating like the butterfly, but sting like a bee. Incredible. And I got more to that. I'm gonna give it to you. He showed me how to do that in your attitude. He showed me how to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. I just got finished telling you when I cleaned up the attitude in the New York attitude and became courtesy. Now I float like a butterfly, but no, I get no conflict. No one says anything against me. No one challenges me like in the world, because I'm actually stinging them like a bee. They have no place to go. They don't trigger. And he was explaining how this science is, and I'm gonna go deeper into it as more the channel and the wisdom unfolds in it. And by the time I do this lecture, I'm gonna give you a lot of what he said and what that means. You know what I'm saying? You fuck with Ali now. His energy is on fire right now. Right now. You know what I'm saying? Right now. You know what I'm saying? Bundini, definitely. Watch again, Blood Brothers. Malcolm X is intricately connected to Muhammad Ali. If it's in your constitution, still watch the Spike Lee version of Malcolm X, which Malcolm X came and said he loves it because it's funny. Malcolm X said he put his energy behind Denzel and made him the leading man in Hollywood. You understand? He said his energy's behind. Well, Joe Louis said he died the same year Tyson came up. Put his energy, because he died shameful as a heavyweight doing standing in Las Vegas. He lost a little bit of dignity, and so he got his dignity back to Tyson. And Jimi Hendrix through Prince. I went through that when I was going through that phase of understanding how these energies can still bring something forward, because through that energy, the acclimates that Prince got, that Jimi Hendrix didn't yet to get, he got the awards and the transformation. Purple Rain, Jimmy was purple. So instead of R-A-I-N, R-E-I, or how you spell rain, G, and whatever it is, like a king's reign was really what that meant. Purple Rain was actually honorarium to Jimi Hendrix. You know what I'm saying? And the purple was honorarium to Jimi Hendrix. All of them shit that Prince used to wear, them fucking Jimi Hendrix wore that shit, because Jimi Hendrix used to say, I'm making music, I'm dressing like a classical, like Beethoven and niggas dress. And that's what Prince said and did too. Prince was a biter, but Prince's talent was still undeniable. Caesar's Palace, thanks Ricky V, he was working there. And he came through Tyson. Look when he died and when Tyson came up. And so Bundini is a bad motherfucker too. While we at it, Petey Green is a bad motherfucker. Don Cheadle did a story, but read Petey Green's story. Look at that YouTube and that nigga. Look when Howard Stern, a young Howard Stern, got interviewed on Petey Green. Watch with Petey Green. He came with blackface and was trying to make that Howard Stern joke shit. Petey Green made that nigga sit there in blackface and absorb. A master. He seen it didn't even move him. You know, Howard Stern tried to make you move and then get the energy and then you got a show. Even though he was young and interviewing and coming up at the time, he wasn't Stern yet. And Petey Green made that nigga sit back and showed him the joke. And now Petey Green was like, I like the way you did that, young blood. Let me explain something to you. And didn't even, he was like, yeah, you're gonna make it one day. Like shit was just wild. And then Petey Green is the nigga said, y'all niggas fucking up. I seen your niggas take away. He's chopping up a watermelon while he's doing it. If y'all never seen that, y'all niggas is crazy. Talk to Me was the movie Don Cheadle did about his life. The family didn't like that movie in Don Cheadle's or the movie's portrayal of him. But you can still see Petey Green from Washington, and the stuff that he did was amazing. He was a mouth talker. Petey Green came to a long time ago, said he would lend me a hand in my lecturing. So bad motherfuckers. Bundini was that same motherfucker. Know what I'm saying? The shit talker. Shit talking is where rap came from. Not Gil Scott-Heron and none of them motherfuckers. Dolomite. Watch the movie Five on the Black Hand Side. When they go to the barbershop and that nigga come in and start talking shit. Shit talking was it. Rhyming. What Muhammad Ali was doing and what Bundy was doing was it. When you watch Muhammad Ali's movie, the one I said, The Greatest, and he's actually in it, Bundini was in it with him. Watch them niggas talking shit together, rhyming it out. And it was rhymes. You know, the signifying monkey and all that shit, Dolomite, that's where rap came from, son. You know what I'm saying? Somebody maybe will say, well, you know, poetry. Because the last poets is the other one they say. I've never seen that, but they give them honorarium. You know what I'm saying? When I did Public Enemy's record, I met the dude, one of the dudes from the last poets, and I didn't know it was him.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and tap that bell notification so you can be notified next time I drop some more heat.